A lot of Christians struggle to discern what is the voice of the Father, what is the voice of themselves, and what is the voice of demons. And I mean, most people don't even realize that that's even relevant at all, let alone how to discern which voice is which. And what this does is it creates a church filled with people who believe that they can hear from the Father clearly, and they don't. Who seek the Father for direction in things like career choice or spousal choice or a big financial decision or a miracle of some kind. They're seeking the Father for these big things. And yet they're failing to seek the Father in the little things. They are failing to have their ears and eyes open to the small voice, that still small voice that tells you not to gossip, the still small voice that has you not look at your fellow man in pride thinking that you're any better, the still small voice that tells you not to have sex outside of marriage, the still small voice, whatever it is for you. Maybe at this point there are things that you've been numb to, that you don't even feel conviction for anymore, but deep down you do know things that you shouldn't be doing. Either way, Christians have a tendency to completely neglect and ignore the still small voice in favor of a God who grants miracles like he's a genie in a bottle, or a God who's going to come and give you direction in these big life moments when you can't even take direction in the small things. I've been in that boat, actually. I've been a Christian who wants to hear the voice of the Father in these big things, knowing that I was not obedient in the little things, and it led me astray. A couple years ago, I had the startings of faith that could move mountains, but I lacked the spiritual discernment, and I ended up getting pretty hurt in more ways than one, honestly. So I'm definitely not saying this because I'm any better. It's because I've already made those mistakes, and I've suffered, and my discernment is what it is because of it. I guess my hope in sharing is that people can learn from my mistakes and not have to go through the same suffering to learn the information and understandings that I have. A huge part to learning how to discern the voice of the Father is you have to get to know him. You have to know his character thoroughly. You have to know his heart. And that takes surrender, time, deep scripture study. It takes humility, not an ounce of pride, and you certainly can't put the opinion of man over what's written in scripture. And if you want the Father of all creation to speak to you when it comes to your big life decisions, you have to practice listening and learning and obeying in the little things, or else you're likely just listening to your own voice, your own desires, or heaven forbid, the enemy pretending to be God, which he does. So if you have some big life decisions, or if you're about to go do this big thing and you believe that God is telling you to do something, or you're communing with God in some capacity, check yourself in the small things. Check to, get your house in order, pretty much. Make sure there isn't any areas for unforgiveness, bitterness, unhealed traumas, a lack of intention and priority of the Father in your life. Are you loving Yahuwah more than all other things? Are you seeking him more than anything else? And it seems, I don't know, maybe it's a lot to ask, but if you want to hear from him in your life in that capacity, it does take work, and it takes intention, and it takes obedience in the little things.